What up, guys? So I recently got a question from a jiu-jitsu coach who sent me a message kind of talking coach to coach about a young guy that he did not promote to purple belt because of his attitude. So basically, here's the situation. The young guy is coming up. He's a very good competitor. He's good at training. All that stuff's good. And in the gym, skill-wise, he's very much ready for his purple belt promotion. But the coach said he didn't promote him because of his attitude. And in particular, the kid hates to lose. And again, nobody likes to lose, but it's visible on him. He gets upset about it. His demeanor changes. And again, it affects the training that he's having because he hates losing so bad. And so the coach was, in his mind, like, you're not ready for this yet. And again, after the promotion ceremony was over and he didn't get promoted, the young guy talked to his coach and they, hashed it out. And the kid's still training, of course, but he was kind of upset about it at first. And so me and the coach were talking and he was just curious, like, Chewy, from coach to coach, is this something you would do? Would you withhold a promotion because of a person's attitude? And so, brother, thank you for the question. And here's how I think about it. Let's say you had a student that was getting thrown, right? They're just getting launched over and over again. What would you show that student to make sure that they don't get injured from those throws and so they could continue training jiu-jitsu? You probably show them how to fall properly, right? Show them how to break fall. It's very important. Well, you and I know, this is something as coaches we know, and anybody that's gotten good at jiu-jitsu knows this. Anybody that's acquired any skill knows this, and really anybody that's built anything, you know this. Failures are not an option. You don't get to decide whether or not you're going to fail. You're going to fail. It's going to happen. And in a lot of ways, it's necessary. You have to, because it's how we learn from all this stuff. And it's incredibly important because you think about how many people do not know how to fail properly. Because us failing properly is basically critical to us getting better at jiu-jitsu. Not just failing, but failing properly. We'll talk about that more in a second. But think about how many people just day to day cannot fail properly. They're so afraid of failure that they can't even start stuff. I mean, how many people do you know, or maybe even how many times has this happened to you where you want to start something and you don't start it, not because of the reality of the situation, but because of your fear of doing it and your fear of coming up short and failing. Happens to a lot of people. So it's really important as a lesson for jiu-jitsu and even off the mats, learning how to fail properly. And in my mind, the way that looks is that nobody likes failing. Nobody likes losing. Nobody likes getting beaten, right? But you don't take it personal. You don't let it change your demeanor. You work with it and you figure out what you did wrong and you improve. That's how we fail properly. And we understand that success and failure are two sides of the same coin. This is why a lot of times in my videos, I've talked about the fact that my jiu-jitsu success is built on a mountain of failures. And that oftentimes I think about my failures are the currency by which I pay for my future success with, right? As I get my failures, I'm basically putting them in the bank for when I'm ready to cash in. And so that's an important lesson. That's critical for his jiu-jitsu progress. And so in my mind, I think you did the right thing. I think it's probably the smart thing to hold him back so that he can learn from that experience. And I say this from experience because when I was a purple belt, I remember, up to purple belt, white, blue, purple, I hated losing, bro. And I was one of the people that would literally get up and storm around, and it got better as I got closer to purple belt, but it was bad. Like when I was a white and blue belt, I was not a really fun guy to roll with sometimes because if he beat me, I'd get all pissed off about it. I'd be grumpy about it, and it was a bad mindset to have. And then my coaches came up to me when I was a sort of late in my purple belt stage, and they said, listen, Chewy, look, bro, you gotta try new stuff. You gotta do different techniques because you do like the same, X amount of techniques all the time. You gotta do something different. And of course, I didn't want to do something different because if I was playing something different, that means I was trying something I wasn't as good at. And again, that means I was going to possibly lose, and I didn't want to lose. And their sort of response to this was like, shake that crap out of your head. You got to lose. It's okay to lose. It's fine to lose. Go out there and lose. Go out and make some mistakes. It's how you're going to get better. And what I noticed was, as a person in jiu-jitsu, as I got better at losing, as I failed better and didn't take it so personal and looked at the objective, sort of what just happened so I can improve from it, my jiu-jitsu got way better, so much better. My competitions even got way better because when I was competing, there was no fear of losing because I knew I was going to lose at some point. So when opportunities showed themselves, instead of being hamstrung by fear of like, well, what if this doesn't work? And then the guy reverses me and I lose the match or whatever. I was like, whatever. I'm just going to go for it. And I have a pretty high rate of submissions in competition. That said, many of you guys have watched the videos that I posted on the channel, and you can watch me get beaten by guys and my students sometimes in getting submitted. It's normal. And again, it's one of the reasons why in our gym we say, it's just training. It doesn't count, right? If you're that hung up on winning something, go compete. But otherwise, you're training, you're going to fail, you're going to win, you're going to fail, you're going to win. It's the normal process, and it's training. It doesn't count. Doesn't mean we got to like failing. Doesn't mean we got to enjoy it. But we use that sting. It almost becomes a bitter medicine. Don't like it, but it makes us better. It helps us out. And so again, just to kind of wrap this up, I think you did the right thing, bro. I think you did the right thing because you're going to help this young man with a lesson that's going to be useful for his jiu-jitsu. And again, from experience, I imagine it's probably going to be useful into his adult life off the mats as well. So again, brother, thank you for the chat. It really wasn't a question, but I wanted to share it. And for the rest of you guys, hopefully you got something useful from this, and I'll talk to you guys next time.